Longtime WWE artist says that Velveteen Dream was the most unprofessional guy in the business. SummerSlam may take place in Nevada, and Kevin Owens hints at his new show in the works. Hello everyone, Jose G here bringing you today's top stories in today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. To stay up to date with all of our content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Longtime WWE artist says that the Velveteen Dream was the most unprofessional guy in the business. PW Insider was the first to report that WWE had come to terms with the release of Velveteen Dream. The former North American champion has not appeared on NXT TV since his loss to Adam Cole on the December 23rd episode of NXT. As you may know, Dream's WWE career hit a massive roadblock last year after being accused in the speaking out movement. Velveteen Dream was once on course to become a top character in WWE. However, controversies outside the ring eventually spelled the end of his stint in Vince McMahon's company. His backstage attitude might have also had a role to play in his departure. WWE artist Rob Schamberger took to Twitter to reveal details of his experiences working with Velveteen Dream. Schamberger stated that Velveteen Dream was the single most unprofessional person he had encountered in the business. The longtime WWE employee hopes the release serves as a wake-up call for Dream. Schamberger felt that Dream needed to do some emotional work to improve as a human being, by saying, quote, "Without saying any further, he was the single most unprofessional person I've encountered in this business. I hope this is a wake-up call he needs to start doing the emotional work to become a better person, all told," end quote. As reported by Fightful Select, Velveteen Dream had not been seen on NXT TV tapings for a while, as he hadn't competed for the Black and Gold brand since the end of 2020. Dream, however, was frequently spotted in the open ring backstage, and there were reports that WWE officials were setting him up to help coach classes. Senior WWE executive Kenyon Seaman sent an email within a company around 4:45 Eastern Standard Time breaking the news to Velveteen Dream's release. Fightful Select's report concluded noting that he has a 30-day non-compete clause. Velveteen Dream signed by the real name Patrick Clark in 2015 following his participation in the Tough Enough series. In NXT, Velveteen Dream rose to become a unique performer, and he was rewarded for his charismatic performances with a North American Championship reign. Dream's name was brought up during the speaking out movement, and WWE conducted an internal investigation and found no wrongdoing from the superstar's end. Dream was also reportedly spotted backstage at Raw a couple of weeks ago, as per Dave Meltzer. Rumors are circulating of WWE potentially planning a main roster call-up for the immensely talented wrestler. However, the 25-year-old star had now been released, and it will be interesting to see where he lands up next despite his questionable reputation. Seth Rollins takes credit for a WWE Superstar's recent championship success. Seth Rollins has been calling for WWE and the WWE Universe and the entire roster to embrace the vision. The Messiah has been going on and on about it for quite some time, and he believes that it can change the lives of whoever accepts it. Rollins claims that it was because of his brush off on Dominic Mysterio that the latter was able to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships alongside his father. The former WWE Universal Champion appeared on The Bump, where he commented on the Mysterio's recent championship victory. Rey and Dominic became the first father and son duo to become tag team champions. Seth Rollins claims that it was because of his interactions with Dominic Mysterio that he was able to rise to a level of a champion, by saying, quote, "Who brought Dominic into this business? Who gave him his very first match at SummerSlam on a huge stage and helped him deliver? I made that kid the man he is today. I primed the seal, and that's why they're tag team champions. Finally, after everything I've given to them, and that's just a small example. So embrace the vision, and maybe you could be like Dominic," end quote. Rollins briefly clashed with Rey and Dominic in 2020. Dominic's first match in WWE was against the Messiah in a street fight at SummerSlam. So far, Seth Rollins has not been too successful in getting his fellow WWE superstars to embrace the vision. The only person he has had any success with is his former disciple Murphy. Rollins recently tried to bring Cesaro over to his side, but ultimately failed. This is a number of other reasons led to their clash at WrestleMania 37. The Messiah is still not done with the Swiss Superman, as he attacks Cesaro following his match at WrestleMania Backlash. SummerSlam 2021 may take place in Nevada. SummerSlam is one of WWE's major events, one for the Big Four, if you will, so it makes sense that the company would want to hold it somewhere special. Money in the Bank is reportedly set to take place in front of a live crowd in Texas, making next month's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view the last one to take place in the Thunderdome. Now, Sports Illustrated has reported that they can confirm that SummerSlam will indeed take place in the great state of Nevada. Most likely, this will be in the city of Las Vegas. According to Sports Illustrated, once WWE hits the road, there are no plans to return to the Thunderdome. Hell in a Cell takes place in the Thunderdome on July 20th, with a return to travel with the following month, just for Raw and SmackDown for the time being. It's also important to note that neither the Money in the Bank nor the SummerSlam venues have been officially announced by WWE themselves. We imagine Vince McMahon himself would like to be the one to make such an announcement. WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels compares NXT Superstar to himself. Shawn Michaels has heaped praise on WWE NXT Superstar Dakota Kai and claimed that she is a special one. The Heartbreak Kid compared Kai to himself and added that he was impressed with her work. Dakota Kai has been in NXT for several years now and remains one of the best talents in the Black and Gold brand. She has helped propel Raquel Gonzalez into the limelight in recent memory. Shawn Michaels recently spoke to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. During their chat, the WWE legend praised the NXT Superstar and mentioned the War Games match as an example by saying, quote, "We have an incredibly talented roster, especially our women, but look at Dakota Kai. She's a special one. Let's use the War Games match as an example. Look at the ass kicking she took, bouncing around and getting back. That's an art, and she's mastering it. What you see Dakota doing, I always pictured myself in that role because I wanted to ping pong around the ring for my opponent. That's one of the reasons I became who I became in the business. So watching Dakota, I am so impressed. I don't want to say she feels under the radar, but I don't know if everyone gets or appreciates everything Dakota Kai does and everything she brings to the table. She is such a workhorse. She really helped propel Raquel, and I keep going back to that War Games match. She's unbelievable and doesn't think twice about the sacrifice that is involved and necessary. She works to the hilt, which is hard not to like and appreciate," end quote. WWE has teased a split between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, and their end of their partnership could be near. The mutual respect between Gonzalez and Mercedes Martinez last week left Kai unhappy, and the WWE Universe caught onto it pretty quickly. The ideal thing to happen would be Dakota Kai turning on Raquel Gonzalez and challenging her for the NXT Women's Championship soon. Kevin Owens hints that he has a new show in the works. Kevin Owens is a man of many interests, primarily among them being in pro wrestling. However, after his role as a WWE superstar and a family man, Kevin Owens has a fondness for nature and wildlife. KO recently appeared on WWE's The Bump, where his love for animals was discussed. At one point in the discussion, Kevin Owens was asked if there was a possibility of a nature show starring himself. The former WWE Universal Champion hinted that he may have something in the works, but immediately retracted the statement, hoping he hadn't jinxed his chances of releasing the show, by saying, quote, "Well, I was gonna say it may or may not be in the works, but as I said that, I realized I was not supposed to say that. But it's out there now, so if it doesn't happen, we know what happened," end quote. Kevin Owens further elaborated on his love for nature later in the show and said that he would love to rescue animals once he retires from pro wrestling, by saying, quote, "Obviously, I don't have plans on ending my career anytime soon or anything like that. But once I'm done, I would love to just find a way to have some sort of piece of land where I can help rescue animals. That's definitely a goal of mine," end quote. It would be great to see KO work with animals on his own show. Hopefully everything works out and he can make it happen. Before he can begin working on his nature show, Kevin Owens wants one last crack at the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. KO is still very interested in taking the title from Roman and made that clear in a recent edition of Talking Smack. Owens has already had 3 matches for the Universal Championship, all of which he has lost. However, it is important to note that Roman Reigns barely managed to win, even with all the assistance. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. For more news stories and exclusive content, be sure to follow us on all social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app for the most up-to-date stories in the world of wrestling.